What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like gays, and today, the lovely folks over at IGN.com have gone and shown us the Soundwave versus Blaster deck, or indeed the Blaster versus Soundwave deck. And they've actually shown us both versions. So I gave you a video very recently, a few days ago, where I showed you the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 35th anniversary of Transformers Fancy Gen 1 Art etc. version. Well, IGN have shown us that version and the other version. So, here's the release information. If you want the 35th anniversary version, you can get it at San Diego Comic-Con, you can get it at Gen Con, you can get it at PAX Unplugged, and you can buy it directly from Hasbro Pulse, which I'm led to believe does not ship to the UK, which means if you live outside of America, gut it. But it's alright, because they are doing a general release of the non-Gen 1 artwork version, so if you want the cards, you can get the cards are easy to find. If you want the fancy Gen 1 version, my apologies. There is also going to be a special convention pack, sold in the same places, that is a non-randomized pack, which is going to feature the Omnibot Sergeant Overdrive, Private Downshift, and Private Camshaft, which will be retailing for $15. The deck will be $50. 50. The pack will be $15, either on Hasbro Pulse or at the convention. There we go. So that's the release information. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Blaster in this video, and then there's going to be a second video coming in an hour or so looking at Soundwave, because there's 8 new characters, and trying to look at all of them in one video, it would make like a 25-30 minute video, and from my experience, I've asked a lot of my viewers about this, they'd rather have 2 separate videos. I apologize if you're in the minority and would like it all in one. Although feedback always appreciated in the comment section. So Blaster then. And as we go, I'm going to show you both the Gen 1 artwork and the newer artwork side by side. So Blaster then. Starting off, Blaster is a 10-star character, but that's a little bit of a misnomer. Now we need to start off in alt mode with Blaster here. And it's a specialist, which means you get to use stuff like the lovely field communicator, which if you watch this channel a bit, you should know I'm quite the fan of. And in terms of stats, health of 14 is good, but not great for a 10 cost. Defense of 2 is about average, and attack of 0 is garbage. But then again, it is a boombox, what do you expect? But it gets really interesting. Your starting star limit increases by 1 for each mini-cassette on your starting team. This starts the game with all mini-cassettes on your starting team under it. Now we're going to look at the 3 mini-cassettes in a moment, but long story short, there are 3 of them. They are 5 stars each, which makes a 25-star deck. But because you've got 3 mini-cassettes underneath it, you actually get a 28-star deck. So you get to go for your 3 mini-cassettes and Blaster, but then you also get 3 extra stars, so you can go and play 3 star cards. For this particular one, I'm thinking Leap of Faith will get there in a moment. That's kind of cool. Now, it does basically lock you into playing a Blaster deck, because otherwise, you're basically looking at a 10-star character who's a little bit underpowered. Now this starts the game with all mini-cassettes on your starting team under it. So if you do play the Blaster team, you will start the game with 1 bot. Having said that, this isn't exactly any different to Metroplex now, is it? Because Metroplex starts with 3 characters under it and deploys them when it flips. Incidentally, that's exactly what happens here. So when you flip Blaster into bot mode, you're still a specialist. You have much better stats. Now your defense does go down to 1, but your attack goes up to 5. And now you got a 5-14-1 stat line, which is alright. It's alright for a 10-star character. Not amazing, but not terrible. But when you flip to this mode, you deploy a mini-cassette from under this to the battlefield in bot mode. and then play the top card of your deck if you wish. Now this is going back to Field Communicator and Leap of Faith. You're just playing the top card of your deck, like Field Communicator. Although to be clear, Field Communicator, you discard it, and you have a choice of whether to play it or not. Blaster, you have to play it. It says when you do, play the top card of your deck. If I intimated that it was optional, that is wrong. It is not optional. You've got to play the top card of your deck. We will need a ruling, but I believe it's fairly clear. You play the top card of your deck when you deploy a mini-cassette. What that means is that if there are no mini-cassettes under Blaster and you flip into bot mode, you don't get to play the top card of your deck because you haven't deployed a mini-cassette from under it. There you go. And obviously this leads us down the road of looking at cards like Rapid Conversion or Rollout, where we want to try and flip our characters as often as we can so that we can just keep deploying them, which, you know, kind of what you want to do. You don't want Blaster knocked out before you've deployed your cassettes. That would be a very bad thing indeed. So we have 3 cassettes then. Let's take a look at them one by one. Now, we're going to start off looking at Steeljaw, and I'm going to apologize. IGN did the reveal. They've not shown us the Alt Mode 35th anniversary artwork. Now, it might be released between now and when the video uploads. If so, it'll be on the screen, and I apologize. So, Steeljaw then. It is a 5-star character, as I did tell you, and the stats really back up the fact that it's a 5-star character. We have got a health of 9, a defense of 1, an attack of either 0 or 3. To be fair, in bot mode, a stat line of 391 on a 5-star character is not too bad, though 091 in alt mode really is. In alt mode, it has stealth, which means that enemies attack other characters if they're able to. And this shouldn't surprise you. All the Micromasters over in Wave 3 have stealth in alt mode. It's just a way of keeping these tiny, weak characters on the field till you want to use them. As soon as you flick it into bot mode, you lose that stealth. Although what is interesting to note, all of these Micromasters, like Detour for instance, they have stealth when they are untapped, whereas this just has stealth all of the time. When you flip it into alt mode, each of your other characters gets bold 1 until end of turn. That's quite nice. We see Flame War doing this, and Flame War sees a bit of play. Just gives you a nice little advantage in terms of buffing up your characters. But if we flick into bot mode here, we've got a pretty competent attacker. It's got an attack of 3, which is low, but for a 5-star character, it's alright. It gets bold 1, which is quite nice. And each of your characters that has 10 stars or more has bold 1. Now, that is not when you flip to this mode. That is a static. All of your characters just have bold, which actually makes it better than Flame War, because Flame War only gives bold 1 when you flip into alt mode. Next turn, they've lost their bold. They don't have it anymore. Plus, worth noting that Steeljaw is a melee character, so you can use Power Sword to give yourself extra bold. You can also go and use Body Armor to give yourself extra tough, but we do seem to be going pretty bold with Steeljaw here. So this is quite nice. It's pretty much always giving you bold 1. It's not going to be the easiest thing to pull off, but let's say for argument's sake, you play a rollout, flipping both Blaster and Steeljaw, and you end up flipping Steeljaw into alt mode, because remember, rollout will only flip you into alt mode, not into bot mode. And then you flip back into bot mode, you will be giving all of your characters bold 2, because you get bold 1 the turn you flip into alt mode, then you go back into bot mode, you got static bold 1, but they will come together, and that will be pretty gosh darn nice. Steeljaw's a pretty good attacker. Now, we're also getting Ramhorn. So Ramhorn, then, is a 5-star character, as you might expect, because of the whole, it's a mini-cassette. It's not a micro-cassette, it's a mini-cassette. And the stat line is largely the same. I like the 391 stat line. I do like the 391 stat line. And actually, to be fair, it is literally exactly the same as we saw on Steeljaw. So it's alright. It is again a melee character. So again, you've got power sword and body armor, if you like. And again, in ult mode, you've got stealth. Gives you that protection. That's very nice. But when you flip to this mode, you may move an armor from one of your characters to another one of your characters. You can move your armor all around the field. And remember, if you're playing stuff like Bashing Shield, which a bunch of people will be, you are essentially reattaching it to a character, so you do get to scrap an enemy armor. So what you can do is essentially put a Bashing Shield onto a character to get rid of an armor, then flip Ramhorn into ult mode, move that Bashing Shield, and then discard another armor from one of your opponent's characters. That's really quite tasty. In bot mode, when you defend, you may play an armor with a white icon. And it's not the only option here, but you'll know I'm going force field here. Force field, for my money, is the best white icon armor. Remember, if there are multiple icons and one of them is white, that will also do quite nicely here. So you just get to play an extra armor. I'm thinking force field, but it could be either. And then, of course, next turn, you can flick it into ult mode and go and put the armor on somewhere else. Although force field, if you're going right, has probably saved you. And it's actually really quite critical that Ramhorn is a 9 health character here, because that essentially means 2 force fields and you'll still be surviving with 1 health. So I kind of like that. You've got to have the force field in your hand at the right time, blah, 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 etc. Okay, fine. But that's still pretty gosh darn nice. And then finally, we've got Eject. Eject is the third and final one of them, and you probably won't be surprised to hear at this stage that it's a 5-star character, and the stats are 091 and 391. You're looking at the exact same stat line on all 3 of these characters here. And you probably also won't be surprised to hear that it has stealth in ult mode. They all do. Again, it's giving that protection. And when you flip into ult mode, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, you may scrap them. I'm actually a huge fan of this ability. This is wonderful. Because if you look at the top 2 cards and they're ones you don't want to draw into, you can get rid of them. If you're desperately digging to try and find your force field, this will let you scrap the top 2 cards of your deck. Obviously, drawing 2 would be better, because then you're still digging through your deck, while also potentially drawing into other stuff you like, but scrapping them's kind of cool. If you're playing a mixed deck with both blue and orange, you could also potentially scrap some of the battle icons you don't want right before you attack. So you can flick this into ult mode right before you attack, and then if you see blue icons, you can scrap them. Although if we read it exactly as read, as I think we're supposed to, you can either scrap both of the top cards or neither of them. It doesn't say you may scrap as many as you like. It says you may scrap them. All or nothing, baby. All or nothing. Flicking into bot mode, we are a specialist. And I love this because Eject is a specialist, and Steeljaw is a specialist, and Blaster is a specialist. So you can really make use of stuff like Field Communicator. And when you defend, enemies can't use bold. Now, it's only for Eject, but come on. We've already said that Ramhorn can just abuse force field when it defends. Now Eject can stop your enemies using bold, and against stuff like Metroplex and Dinobots and Insecticons, who love the bold, yeah, this is going to be redonk, ladies and gentlemen. 2 of your characters are actually surprisingly difficult to take out. Because again, okay, you've only got 9 health, 1 defense, but if your opponent isn't able to use bold to flip more battle icons, that's huge. That's like legitimately huge. So, Blaster then. We like it. I really like it. I love that 3 of the 4 characters are specialists. I love that Blaster lets you play an extra action or an upgrade. I love that you get 3 extra star cards despite having a 25-star team. Maybe it's not going to end up being good enough. Maybe Blaster doesn't have the staying power of Metroplex. Because remember, the last time we had a character that had to deploy stuff from under it, it was Metroplex. But Metroplex had 35 health. Blaster doesn't. But we've got some really nice bots with some really nice skills and respectable stats. I'm kind of excited to see how this turns out. Now, as I've said, we're not looking at Soundwave in this video. We're up to 15 minutes as it is, but a Soundwave video will be up in 1 to 2 hours, so look out for that. I'm a little bit excited. You should be too. You should also be telling me what you think about Blaster in the comment section. You should be going nuts. You should be being nice. And then, maybe you like this video. Maybe you subscribe to this channel, because we are like creepily close to hitting 6,000 subscribers at this stage. Maybe you could be the person who is number 6,000. Seriously, as I'm recording this, I'm at 5,999. Someone click the subscribe button. But by far, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.